The Cascades are indeed a breathtaking range of mountains, but one region within the Cascades is especially beautiful. Tonight in Part 6 of the Restless Cascades, Bill Van Amberg takes us to that region, the volcano land of Central Oregon, a land of sleeping mountains where the earth is thin.
If there's a more active land of volcanics in the world than Central Oregon, it has yet to be found. This entire countryside is a crumpled, broken, peaked, throbbing land of restless skylines, scraping the blue air in their push to grow and expand. Like thin ice on a melting lake, the Earth's molten thaw is close here, its towering excitement obvious. Amazingly, in recent history, there are no records of any volcanics in this area, but man's time here is not measured on the mountain scale. This peak rising in the center of Bend, Oregon is Pilot's Butte, a recent cinder cone surrounded by a city. In the white man's time, this land has seemed quiet.
This area is very active. Mount St. Helens, which seemed to erupt every 100 to 150 years, is a very short period of time. And I think around this area, we're looking at volcanoes erupting more every 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000 years. And it just happens to be a quiet time. Like Mount Hood, it's a quiet time right now, but it's certainly not an extinct volcano, nor are these around here.
They may be sleeping now, but their scarred look tells of action. Central Oregon is one of the most varied, touchable spots on Earth, old and young peaks mixing in a wild collage of visible volcanic energy. The three sisters are the region's calling card, each over 10,000 feet tall. Yet physically close as they are, their makeup is so different it's hard to call them family. The North Sister is the oldest, a tough, glacially gouged-out remnant of an earlier age of volcanoes. Built between 2 and 3 million years ago, it's well over 3 times older than volcanoes like Hood and Rainier. Once over 11,000 feet tall and 15 miles across, ice has taken a third of it away now, exposing its soft interior. Yet it still stands proud like a monument of magma and a stepping stone for the middle sister rising on its flank. Almost more a daughter than a sister in age, it too has been eaten by glaciers, including the largest one in the state, the huge Collier Glacier. A true volcano, yet its height is more a tribute to the shoulders of the sister it stands on than to its own activity. Youngest, perhaps fairest, and today's largest, the South Sister, its firm, conical figure still intact, its cone obvious. It even holds the highest lake in Oregon when the ice melts. 2,300 years ago, obsidian lava poured out of its sides, and while there have been no historic eruptions, it might last have been active in the past 1,000 years. Active today are the hotspots skiers notice on Bachelor Butte, fumaroles on one of the youngest mountains in the area, pushing up only 8,000 years ago and hardly eroded today, a pristine example of pyroclastics. The blocky black chunks of lava are usually only seen covered with cold white snow, but the young peak is a Cascade hotspot and may only be resting. It's amazing there are so many generations of volcanoes here. Mount Washington, like North Sister, is older. So is Three-Fingered Jack, just to the north. They all fall into a class with peaks like Mount Thielsen, a giant further south. They are old and they are spires, and all that's left of them is the stubborn, rigid plug that once was buried, now unearthed by ice, a testimonial to an explosive effort now long dead. These mountains have not erupted in 100,000 years. They may be extinct. But other older ones may live on. Broken Top blanketed 200 square miles with superheated blasts, glowing avalanches that covered today's town sites of Bend and Sisters. It's an amazing land that's never at rest, and what the mountains will do next is as varied as their vistas.
They don't include the great blast type eruption that we had at St. Helens, but they do include pyroclastic flows that were extremely hot and certainly would have been lethal if anybody had been around them. They include ash and pumice falls. So you have a great variety from a very explosive type, producing ash fall and pyroclastic flows, to lava flows.
I'm standing on a spot where almost 2,000 years ago lava broke loose from the side of this volcano and poured down in a miles-long flow that completely covered the valley in this area. Volcanoes can make us feel very small. Their size and power dwarf human activity. And yet there's something strangely compelling about them, almost magnetic, that draws people to them, almost to mystically marvel at them. And while they do give warning before they awaken from their sleep, perhaps it is this being so close to uncontrolled power that makes it very special to live in the Restless Cascades. From Central Oregon, I'm Bill Van Amberg reporting for Channel 2 News.
And tomorrow in the final chapter of the Restless Cascades, Bill and his crew give us a look at the volcanoes that surround us, a land of lava that was made from the inside out.